Hello and welcome. My name is Tyler Burke, and I'm going to be going over the Mguard Secure Cloud VPN service. So this is a cloud-based VPN service. So you're able to use it to log in to remote machines wherever they are in the world. The URL is us.cloud.mguard.com, and you can kind of see right when you log in, you have the option to sign up for free or to sign in. So I already have an account. I'm just going to click on sign in. And you're able to see once I do this, it remembers all my credentials. There is a checkbox for stay signed in. There is an auto timeout feature in here, so if you are sitting around not doing anything on the web interface, it will kick you out. If you want to stay signed in, you just check that box right there. As well, another feature that I do not have enabled is two-factor authentication. So if you wanted to have increased security, you can enable time-based one-time passwords. Then you need to have your phone with you to authenticate when you're logging in. So if I log in right here really quickly, you can see in the top right-hand corner, it tells me I'm going to be logged out in 1 hour. When we first log in, it always drops us in at the same spot, so service targets machines. So what this is, these are the remote machines I have. So as I mentioned, this is a remote access cloud service. So I could have 100 different machines, and they would all show up here if they were all online at the same time. I'm going to click this little slider button, and this will show you all of the different locations that I have, as well as the machines that are under those locations. So I have my active VPNs, Milton office, Montreal office. So I can hit this plus sign and add more locations if I need to, or I can hit this plus sign and add more machines to a specific location. So we're not trying to limit you in terms of how you organize everything. We want to make sure that it makes sense so you don't ever connect to the wrong service. So I'm going to run you through now getting a profile and putting that onto your device, right? So the way that this would work is you would buy hardware from Phoenix, either our Mguards or our TC Cloud Client units. You would come to our website, you would create a profile for that device, load it into the unit, and then it would appear here under Active VPNs. So if I click on this one, here are the different options. So what I just clicked on, that little wrench, this is our VPN builder. So here are the different options we have. We have a Mguard in stealth mode. So that would be an Mguard that is like an inline firewall. So the LAN and the WAN interface are the same. So and this would just be basically a firewall as well as a VPN device. The next up we have is our Mguard in router mode. So in router mode, it has a LAN and a WAN interface. They're going to be separate IP subnets, right? So it's going to be a regular router. It's going to have a firewall, so it will restrict traffic in and out. But you can use this for your VPN device as well. Then we have 3G and 4G options for both. So on the 4G side, it works on the big carriers in Canada, so Rogers, Bell, and Telus. And in the US, we have different model numbers for AT&T and Verizon Wireless. And then we have an option where it would go wired first and fall back to cellular. And then down here we have what we call our TC Cloud clients. So the difference between them is that our Mguards are fully featured routers. So they do things like NATing, they have firewalls, as well as the VPN. Whereas the TC Cloud client, it's much more simple. It is just a VPN access device. So this TC Cloud client, very similar to our Mguard in stealth mode, has 2 ports, but they're both in the same subnet. And it's simply going to just be a VPN device. So if you have an existing network, you would drop this in, plug it into your network, and then it would give you VPN access. Or you can go with this unit, the TC Cloud Client 4G. Same idea again. It would use 4G to get into the network, and then you're going to just connect to your devices from there. So I'll run you through the Ethernet plus 3G. That way every tab is available. You can see as I click on different tabs, different things at the top disappear. So the first step when you first come in would be picking your ports. So we have different ways of going outbound. So these ports are going to be what you use to dial into our secure cloud service. This is more important on the wired side because on cellular, the carriers typically do not block what port numbers are available to you. But if you're connecting to the internet through an IT infrastructure, right, you could have problems where IT might be blocking specific ports for security reasons. Typically, I would recommend trying TCP encapsulation using port 443, so it's this third option here. And the reason why is that if you were to block 443, things like Google wouldn't work. So it's a pretty safe bet, but the best thing to do if you are using a wired infrastructure is to always ask the IT, hey, what's blocked, what's available. Like I said, this is typically okay because it's making an outbound connection, but it's always best to be sure. For the mobile connections, you're going to be asked what the APN is. APN stands for access point name. That is going to be basically how our device connects to the carrier. So every carrier has its own APN. Like Rogers, I believe, is LTE mobile.apn. Bell is pda.bell.ca or something like that, right? So everybody has their own APN, and that's how the SIM card knows how to connect to the network. It becomes very important if you're using a static IP address that you type in the correct APN. Otherwise, it will get a dynamic IP address. But just know that when you use our cloud service, you do not need to get a static IP address from any carriers. So again, this would be on the the external network. This would be again on the wired side. It's specifically looking at. So because I set this guy up to have both cellular and a wired connection, it's asking, okay, on your WAN interface, what is the IP address? So the WAN, think of that as like the plant or the IT subnet, whereas the LAN is your specific machine. So anything on the LAN side are the devices you can get to, whereas the WAN is the the outbound connection. So you can choose between static IP or dynamic. It's typically dynamic. I'm going to leave it at that, but you can set it up as a static IP address if you wanted to. Then you'll have the IP address of the LAN, so your machine subnet. So our Mguard or RTC Cloud Client needs an IP address in that subnet, so you would type in an IP address in that subnet. When you sign up to create an account, it will ask you for a machine subnet. So we do dynamically add in, machine subnets for you. If you wanted to use, let's say you signed up and you created a 192.168.2, as I did with this account, you can get other IPs added, but you just have to request them. So there's an email portal at phoenixcontact.com. And if you email that, then you can say, hey, I want to add in these addresses, and we will do that for you. I'll show you where to reach the help and support in a minute. So the last little bit here, just to finish this off, is how you load the profiles into the device. So we have ATV profiles, which are basically you get the profile and you load it in through the web page of the Mguard. And then we have ECS, which is you get this profile, you put it onto an SD card, plug the SD card into the Mguard, and cycle power on the unit. So those are the two ways of getting the profiles into the device. The other little bit is using the service VPN. So initiating the service via a key switch. So this is just a yes/no option. With this setup, if I say set yes, the VPN is only on when input 1 on the device is on. So our Mguards have multiple inputs. You can use them to send emails, send SMS messages if it's a cellular unit, or in this case, to enable the VPN service. Once you're done and you click on request, you can see I can download file. I also have some videos here. These videos are specifically going to link me to YouTube, and they show you how you take the profile that you just created and load it into your device. So I'm not going to run through that, but I'll just show you that these videos here, they link to YouTube, and that's where they're going to take you. So let's close this. So I did mention that there is an option to add in more IP addresses. So just come up here and you can see help and support. And if I click on that, there's that portal email address as well as the phone number. So you can either email or call us and we will add more IPs into your account. So that is all on the machine side. So now that your machine is connected, right? So I have my Milton office is the one I'm going to connect with. You have to get your computer online and connected to our Mguard secure service as well. So that's pretty simple as well. What you do is you click on these service workstations. You can see here all service workstations. I'm just going to find my own, so my Mguard secure client. This is now the way of connecting your PC to our cloud service. So we have a few different options. If you're using Mac or iOS, it uses built-in drivers. So you can see it's integrated drivers. You can buy a physical Mguard. This one is USB powered, and so you could have one that you literally hand around. The last option, the other options are for PCs. So we have ShrewSoft, which is a freeware VPN client. It's not made by Phoenix. So if you want to download that and try it out, go for it. We do have the Mguard Secure VPN client. So this is a software made by Phoenix. Just know you can't have both of these installed at the same time. So if you go with the Phoenix software, there is a fee to buy the software from us as well. So you would, in this case, I'm going to use the Mguard Secure VPN client. It asks you for a password. You can see I've already typed it in. And then again, it'll ask me for the port numbers to connect to. And then the last thing is what machine network am I going into? So very similar to before, once you create your profile, it's totally possible to edit your profile to add more networks. So if I have 5 different machines and they're all on different subnets, like 192.168.1 and then 2 and 3, whatever, I can have the one connection be able to connect to any of them. So I'm just going to close this right now. So normally you'd hit request and then it would give you the same download and show you the videos again. I've already done that, so I'm not going to do it, but in your case, you could just hit request and then there's more videos. Under administration, this is where you can create more accounts. So you can kind of see here, everyone that I'm showing here is from Phoenix. So administration, you can create more people and add them as users or as admins. The difference here is that an administrator is able to do everything that I'm doing. So you can add machines, delete machines, do whatever, whereas a user can only connect. It's possible as well to create permissions. So if you create a new permission group, you can then edit permissions. So one of the permissions that I have is called test, where you can only see 2 locations. So when I created my machines and I was under this service targets, you only saw 2 locations. So if I go back to my own login right here and edit my permissions, you can see that's the filter that I have. I can change this if I wanted to be default, and then I would see every machine in our group. So you can create filters so that people only see specific locations or machines, and then you can apply them to those people. And if they're user accounts, they can't change that. So if I'm an OEM who's making machines, it's entirely possible for me to limit my customers so that they can only see their own machine. Then meanwhile, I'm able to see every machine, right? So it's very powerful in that sense. So that's all done through this administration tab, and it's all done through this access permission. So again, the roles are admins and users. Master admin is the guy who creates the account. But an admin and a master admin basically have the same rights. And then you have users who can come in and just connect. The last little bit you can see right here is the logbook. So this will show who was online, when they were online, how long, what they connected to, all that stuff. You can export that as a CSV or a PDF. So some people use that, for billable hours, or even just, if anything ever goes wrong, they can go back and say, hey, Tyler was online with this machine. What was he doing? And then they can ask me, right, if that machine is no longer working. So you can't see it, but I have the Mguard Secure VPN client service opened up in another window. So I'm going to start that connection.